I got a master's in social welfare, and I was exposed to that whole take your kids away from you because you might abuse them program called that. So some social workers are paid to do. And nothing compares to this. Nothing.
Hello, Intactivists. Today I have a very special guest with me, Dr. Tina Kimmel. She has a PhD in public health. Tina, how are you today?
Good. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I am fantastic. So, Tina, for those who don't know, who are you?
Um, I've been around intactivism for a really long time. I even have an intactivist CV that I put together. We were all requested to put together our intactivist CVs for one of the international symposia that I attended. And so it goes back to 1991, where I attended the second international symposium, which was held here in San Francisco. And I stumbled on an announcement for it, and I was really blown away. I had a daughter in 1974, born at home, and a son born at home in 1980, and it didn't even cross my mind to cut him up. I mean, hippies didn't do that. And so I was like shocked to hear that it was actually still going on. And then I saw this flyer for this symposium on the topic, and I was just gravitated towards it. So I went to that, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And I introduced myself to Marilyn Milos, of course, the head of the whole intactivism movement, really, and volunteered to help with the next one, with the third symposium, which was held in Maryland near Washington, D.C. 2 years later. And so I did that, and I got very, very involved. My
Oh,
intactivist CV just goes on. It's longer than my normal CV. So meanwhile, I had kids and grandkids. I had a career, which I'm semi-retired from, of being an epidemiologist for the state health department. Of course, I would have loved to have gotten to work on this issue, but fat chance. But I got as close as I could. Oh, and meanwhile, I got 2 master's degrees and a PhD from Berkeley in public health and social welfare from UC Berkeley. I did my dissertation. Okay, my original dissertation that I spent 2 years on what became the Sorrell study on penile sensitivity. We proved that, duh, that there is sensitivity in the foreskin, and so the overall sensitivity of the penis is significantly less when the foreskin gets cut off with the scissors and thrown in the trash. It was really moving to be part of that creation of that data set. Oh my God, I was crying. I mean, there it was, the real thing. I mean, for a data nerd like me, it just spoke volumes. It was just so sad, so pathetic. And of course, we thought once that was published, that would be the end of circumcision, but that chance, no, it didn't. So anyway, I participated and planned lots and lots of meetings here at my house, and demonstrations in front of the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Those are the 2 worst of the medical groups. And we did see a difference. And of course, the rates have come down all this time during all this activism. There's been some success.
yeah,
Uh,
that is awesome. Seems like you're doing a whole lot of things. So, do you collaborate with a bunch of intactivist groups, or like what intactivist groups have you been involved with?
well, I was one of the founders of the Bay Area Intactivist Group. Originally, it was called the Bay Area No Circ Group, because No Circ was Marilyn Milos's group across the Bay in Marin County. But then we became BANG, the Bay Area No Circ Group, had that email for a long time. And then Bay Area Intactivist Group. Jonathan Conti was a big part of our group for a long, the 5 years that he was active. But now, personally, I got spread a little thin, and I'm not doing so much work right now, just mentioning it, at every opportunity. I don't know, right or wrong, I feel like it's really seeped into the culture that you can talk about this now and call it genital mutilation. I've seen more than one YouTube or whatever where the person is talking about the genital mutilation of these poor middle school transgender kids. And it's just great to see those words used. And occasionally they'll talk about, like infant circumcision. So I think actually, I'm not sure what the statistics are doing. I don't know if they're even allowing us to look at those statistics anymore. But I think the whole culture is getting better. So I don't feel quite as compelled to devote so much of my life to intactivism like I was doing. I have my, intact son, and now I have two intact grandsons and my intact daughter. Everybody's intact.
That is awesome.
So everybody was born at home except my youngest grandson, who was born in a birth center and left alone. It just feels, but maybe I'm under a rock or something. It feels like it's gotten into the culture. So I'm super happy about that. I am also I'm very interested in other children's issues like home birth and breastfeeding. And so I have a whole history with vaccinations.
Hey guys, so I cannot air what Dr. Tina just said on YouTube. So if you want to go and check out what she said, there's about a 9-minute video with our friends Intact Anonymous on Rumble. So you can go ahead and click on the link down below and see what she said about vaccinations. Yeah, go down below after this interview and you can see and hear what she thinks about vaccines. It's very interesting and eye-opening, and it's good to have different perspectives, if you ask me. So yeah, go ahead and check it out down in the description below. All right, back to the interview. So, going back to intactivism, all right. So, how many years have you been doing intactivism?
Well, like I said, since I saw that flyer in 1991, so what is that? 32 years?
32 years of intactivism. Yeah, that's definitely quite a long time. I can see why you want to take on different other
Issues,
issues. Yeah,
concerns. Yeah.
other
Yeah.
social
Well, I
issues.
care about kids, I mean, I care about humans, and as the twig is bent, so grows the tree. I mean, so many horrible things happen from circumcision. Criminal.
Yeah,
Needless to say, of course, as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely blatantly illegal. I mean, if there's child abuse, this is child abuse. And I got a master's in social welfare, and I was exposed to that whole take your kids away from you because you might abuse them program called that. So some social workers are paid to do, and nothing compares to this. Nothing compares to holding down a protesting, non-consenting child and cutting and tearing off the most sensitive part of his body and throwing it in the trash without his permission, without anesthetic most of the time. Nothing. Everything else, every other kind of child abuse practically pales in comparison to that. And I would like to study how circumcision then informs the rest of the whole child abuse universe. Like, I'm pretty sure that just about every perpetrator of other kinds of child abuse, especially child sexual abuse, have been circumcised. So their psyche was completely bent when they were helpless infants to thinking that's, well, on one level, think that's normal behavior. On another level, they want to see other people suffer the way they suffered and stuff like that.
so since you worked in the public health field, have you had this circumcision talk with other doctors and nurses? Like, what are their opinions if you've had talked to them about it?
Well, there's the whole wonderful organization, Doctors Opposing Circumcision. So, of course, there are, and I crazy about it. We're a club of people who know better. But generally, doctors are pretty brainwashed. It's probably partly the indoctrination that happens when you go through medical school. The people who are going to oppose that kind of authoritarian, psychopathic non-caring for the human body that disguises itself as caring for the human body. If they oppose that, they just drop out of medical school. So the people that make it all the way through are a little weird. Similar to same with nursing school, I think, which
Okay.
is unfortunate.
So does your doctorate provide any kind of power or prestige to where you can tell those, masters, bachelors, and below, like, hey, you should listen to me. I have a PhD. I know what I'm talking about.
Occasionally, it's pretty shocking how rarely actually it matters. I mean, people just make up their mind, and it doesn't matter what your credentials are. They don't care. If you have the credentials to support their point of view, they're happy. If you don't, they just dismiss you anyway. That's what I've found. But
Okay, that's interesting because I know some intactivists feel like, oh, I don't have a PhD. I'm not a doctor. I feel like I can't
oh,
change minds. Um,
oh
yeah.
no, it hasn't helped that much. I don't know. I don't know what I'll have to think about that. I'll have to pay attention to how that happens. Well, one thing that comes to mind is that, like in the California Department of Public Health, where I worked and I'm about to go back to work, you are like punished for being personally invested in your topic. They don't want you to be invested. They want you to be dry. Like you can be easily reassigned to anywhere else in the unit and you do just as good or bad of a job. It's really interesting. And I think it's horrifying, but whatever. That's how the cogs, the wheels of government work, I guess.
Okay. So do you have any advice for intactivists out there that may be like the newer generation that's trying to go out and protest or convince other people that, hey, circumcision's wrong?
Um, Personally, I have a lot of passion for making it illegal, like it obviously is or should be. I I'm happy that people want to hold up signs and talk to parents. I'm so proud of Brother K, the Bloodstained Men. I participated in that a little bit. I have my, bloody white pants and all that ready to go. But I can understand wanting to do that. And it's fabulous and you should do it, whatever you're called to do. But I'm kind of called to work on the legal aspect because that's all we have to do. I was a big part of that San Francisco, endeavor in 1910 and 2010 and 2011, where we tried to make it illegal in San Francisco. And, it was just the typical, oh, okay, so just the typical Jews. I'm Jewish, so it's okay for me to be more okay. Still not okay for me to be critical, but the typical illegal subterfuge of the voting process. We got plenty of signatures to put it on the ballot, and they thought of made up some rule to take it off the ballot. I mean, it was just an outrage, as usual. So we got pretty far. I think we got as far as it's ever been done. Santa Monica was thinking of doing it too, the city of Santa Monica in LA. But when they saw what happened to us, they quit their efforts. So I'm not aware of any other city. Of course, that state in Germany got pretty far. Now, one thing I really want to point out to raise everybody's anger level about it is that there's countries, especially in Western Europe, that are still trying to make it illegal. Intact Denmark is working really hard, and they've cultivated some legislators on their side. So it may happen, but the Jewish Anti-Defamation League comes in there and threatens the legislators that they will make sure they don't get reelected if they vote for this. That's happened in Iceland, I think. Do I have this right? Finland and Norway. I'm sorry, I should have brought that with me, but those countries, they really, really care, and they really, really want to recognize in law that you can't go around cutting up non-consenting baby boys. But it's the Jews who are stopping them from doing that. That has what has happened in the past 10 years.
Okay, yeah,
And I just think that's just unbelievably outrageous. So I have been taking notes to write a book called Circumcision is the Root of All Evil. And I want to highlight that, what's happened in Western Europe. Let's see, if this ever happens. I've got a couple scientific publications, but I've certainly never written a book. So let's see if I really follow through.
okay, yeah. So, Tina, we are running out of time. Is
All
there
right.
is there any way for our viewers to get to know you more or reach out to you? Do you have any previous books published or social media, stuff like that?
Just write to me. My email is Tina Kimmel at motherlove.org.
Okay, awesome. Wow. Do you have a prediction when your new book's going to come out?
No, it's a long ways away.
So the symposium was Intact America too, right? That's what the symposium was.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, yeah, the last one, Attacked America, was the sponsor. That's right. And we'll see if they do any more of them. But prior to that, it was no circ, which is now Genital Autonomy America. Yeah, there were 15 of them. Scientific symposia was just breathtaking for us academics to get together every 2 years and talk about the latest scientific and social science too, history and things like that of this practice. So there's actually books. You can still buy them. The proceedings, I have them all. This is my Intactivism library. Let's see. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Can you see those? Oh, I absolutely cannot tell.
Yeah, I can see them.
Yeah. Okay. So you can get those, and there's lots of wonderful books. Lots of wonderful books. Have you seen that one? Reasons to Circumcise. And it's blank inside. An actual published book.
Oh, wow. It's like a gag book. That's really awesome.
It's so great. You can get that on Amazon. The comments are just terrific. Oh, and the Foreskin Man comics are also still available. I'm crazy about them. The 7 volumes of the Foreskin Man comics. There's Foreskin Man to the rescue. And so there's, let's see, is this the latest? Well, anyway, one of them. Oh, here they are. So Foreskin Man. I just think these are so wonderful. Number 1, Dr. Mutilator. So. Oh yeah, I should get these. He's still got a website and everything. Of course, this is the one that drove everybody crazy. What do you call him? Moil Mutilator or something or another, the Jewish issue. What was that? Monster Moil, right? I mean, I just thought it was fabulous, but Matthew Hess gotten a lot of trouble for this. These are great. And of course, there's tons that we can do on our own and talk to everybody, talk to every pregnant person you run across. My brother's son was and his girlfriend were pregnant, and I gave them $1,000 check and said that they could cash it if they left the baby intact. And so they did. That was one way to save a foreskin.
That is awesome. I've never heard of that strategy before.
Yeah. And that little boy has got a girlfriend now. He's a big kid, and I've never talked to him about it, but I understand he's real happy to be intact. And it really did save him because they would have cut him otherwise. So it's one way to do it, and I think pretty much once you break the chain, it's not going to go back, you know.
Yeah, like
once-
when he has a kid, he's not gonna do it.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine. Once
Yeah.
the spell is broken, it's over, like the emperor's new clothes. Once that little boy said, "No, but you're naked," actually.
Yeah.
That story? It's a great Hans Christian Andersen story where, everybody's saying, "Oh, what's going on here?" And the king says, "Oh, if you can't see the finery, it's because you're not educated enough or high class enough to see the threads are so fine of this silk garment I've got on." Um, so everybody in the town pretended this naked king was dressed because, and they all couldn't admit that they couldn't see it because they weren't whatever enough. And finally, a little boy says, "But you just, oh, I was just trying to say that this whole issue reminds me of the Emperor's New Clothes story because we're all hypnotized, into believing that these doctors know what they're talking about. They don't.
Hey guys, if you want to see more of Tina, please leave a comment saying Tina rocks. Also, if you liked part 1, part 2 is something you definitely will not want to miss. So please subscribe. Also, join us on our Discord down in the description below. And don't forget to check out that video out on Rumble and support our intact anonymous friends. Thank you for watching.